Hello, students. Welcome to this lecture on the role of National Commission for Minorities in India's Minority Framework. The National Commission for Minorities is India's apex statutory body for safeguarding the rights and welfare of minority communities. Established under the National Commission for Minorities Act 1992, the NCM plays a vital role in monitoring constitutional and legal safeguards for minorities under Articles 25 to 30. It ensures equality, justice, and protection against discrimination. The Commission embodies India's secular commitment to pluralism and equal citizenship. It advises the central government on minority welfare policies, investigates grievances, and promotes inter-community harmony. The NCM complements constitutional principles by translating them into institutional action. Minority protection in India is not only legal but administrative. NCM provides that operational mechanism. Over the years, it has expanded from a policy monitor to a participatory institution, bridging government and civil society. However, challenges remain, such as limited powers and inadequate enforcement authority. Despite these, the NCM remains central to India's democratic project of managing diversity and ensuring every citizen's equal access to opportunity, dignity, and rights. The idea of a dedicated minority commission evolved after the 1970s following growing recognition of the need for an institutional safeguard. The Ministry of Home Affairs, through a resolution in 1978, first created a non statutory minorities commission to monitor minority welfare. It was later given a statutory status through the National Commission for Minorities Act 1992, Act number 19 of 1992, coming into force on 17 May 1993. This act established the NCM as a statutory body under the union government. Initially, 5 religious communities were notified as minorities: Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Parsis under Section 2C of the Act. Later, Jains were added in 2014. The establishment of the NCM marked a major step towards institutionalizing India's commitment to secularism and equality. It operates under the Ministry of Minority Affairs since 2006. The Commission provides advice, grievance, redressal, and monitoring, functioning as a bridge between minority citizens and the state. This statutory status uh, gives it legitimacy and continuity in India's rights protection framework. Although the Constitution of India does not explicitly mention the NCM, it provides the foundation for its existence through Article 14, 15, 16, 25 to 30, and of course 29, 30, and 350B. These articles collectively guarantee equality, prohibit discrimination, and protect the cultural and educational rights of minorities. The directive principles of state policy, Articles 38 and 46, directs the state to promote the welfare of weaker sections. The NCM Act operationalizes these ideals by establishing a permanent body for oversight. Its legal authority stems from parliamentary legislation, making its recommendations advisory but institutionally binding for consideration. The NCM also works alongside the National Human Rights Commission and National Commission for Women to ensure policy coherence. The Supreme Court has upheld minority rights as integral to secularism, interpreting the NCM's role as essential to maintaining communal balance and national unity. Thus, the NCM acts as the institutional instrument translating constitutional promises into tangible governance outcomes for minority welfare. Under Section 3 of the National Commission for Minorities Act 1992, the NCM consists of a chairperson, vice chairperson, and five members, including at least one woman. The Commission's tenure is 3 years and it functions through a secretariat headed by a secretary and assisted by administrative and research staff. The Ministry of Minority Affairs provides budgetary and policy support. The composition aims to represent the major religious minorities Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, Parsis, and Jains, ensuring balanced representation. The NCM also maintains coordination with the State Minorities Commission established under respective state laws. Administrative divisions within NCM include investigation, research, legal, and policy wings. While the structure reflects inclusivity, critics note that appointments are often political, affecting credibility. Strengthening transparency and professional independence remains vital for institutional integrity and effectiveness. The functions of the NCM outlined in Section 9 of the 1992 Act are comprehensive. It evaluates the progress of minority development, monitors implementation of safeguards, and recommends policy measures to the government. The Commission investigates complaints of deprivation or violation of minority rights. It reviews laws and welfare programs, suggests reforms, and conducts studies on socio-economic conditions. The NCM also promotes interreligious understanding and public awareness about constitutional provisions. It can summon officials, call for records, and conduct field visits for fact finding. Though it lacks judicial powers, annual reports submitted to Parliament highlight policy gaps and suggest improvements. The NCM's advisory nature allows it to act as a moral authority rather than a punitive one. By functioning as both watchdog and advisor, it bridges the gap between minority communities and the government, ensuring policies reflect constitutional principles of justice, equality, and fraternity in practical governance context. To ensure localized protection, several states have established state minorities commissions under their own laws, modeled on the NCM. These include Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Kerala, West Bengal, and others. Coordination between the national and state levels is crucial for effective implementation. The NCM acts as a nodal agency, guiding state commissions on monitoring, data collection, and complaint handling. Joint reviews and workshops are conducted to ensure consistency in policy execution. However, gaps persist due to differing state capacities and political priorities. Some commissions face budget constraints or lack statutory authority. A unified digital platform for reporting and coordination has been proposed to enhance synergy. Federal cooperation ensures that minority issues are addressed in both national and regional contexts. Strengthening this coordination will lead to more responsive governance, ensuring that constitutional protections reach communities at the grassroots through an integrated institutional framework. Since 2006, the NCM has operated under the Ministry of Minority Affairs, created to centralize all programs related to minority welfare. This institutional alignment facilitates policy coherence and resource allocation. The ministry implements flagship schemes such as Nai Roshni, Seekho or Kamao, and PMJVK, while the NCM monitors their impact. The Commission provides inputs to the ministry's policy making process and reviews scheme implementation. Regular meetings between NCM and ministry officials enhance coordination, but overlapping functions sometimes blur accountability. The NCM's monitoring reports often inform ministry planning, yet follow up on recommendations remains inconsistent. Ideally, NCM should act as an independent evaluator, ensuring transparency and fairness in the ministry's execution. Strengthening collaboration without compromising autonomy is key. Together, the NCM and MOMA represent the twin pillars of India's minority protection framework, one focusing on policy delivery, the other ensuring constitutional oversight and accountability. If with a little bit of more efforts for coordination, the two bodies can really work in favor of the minorities. Over the years, NCM has produced significant reports addressing socioeconomic disparities, communal harmony, and education access. Notable reports include the report on socioeconomic and educational status of Muslims in 2006, Communal Harmony Guidelines 2013, and Minority Education Review 2019. These reports often serve as the basis for government action or parliamentary discussion. The NCM has also intervened in cases involving mob violence, hate speech, and religious discrimination, recommending policy and police reforms. Annual reports to Parliament review implementation of uh, minority schemes, highlighting delays, fund utilization, and policy gaps. The Commission has consistently called for better data on minority employment, education, and credit access. Despite limited enforcement power, these reports act as important moral and policy tools. They ensure visibility for minority issues in governance and public discourse. However, periodic follow up and independent assessment of NCM recommendations remain essential for measurable impact on the ground. NCM's ability to act effectively is constrained by financial and administrative challenges. Its annual budget remains below 30 crore, which restricts outreach, research, and monitoring activities. The Commission lacks regional offices, limiting direct contact with local communities. Staffing shortages and dependence on deputed officers hinder institutional continuity. Moreover, its recommendations are advisory and non binding, reducing enforcement power. Compared to the NHRC, the NCM has fewer legal teeth. Political appointments often undermine credibility and neutrality. Strengthening its financial autonomy and providing quasi judicial powers, such as the ability to summon compliance reports, would enhance its effectiveness. Parliamentary standing committees have reportedly urged the government to upgrade NCM's powers and funding. Without institutional independence, the NCM risks functioning as a symbolic body. Ensuring resources, professionalism, and accountability will transform it into a genuine protector of minority rights and a pillar of India's secular democratic structure. The NCM collaborates with institutions like National Human Rights Commission, National Commission for Women, and National Commission for Scheduled Caste and NCSC on cross-cutting issues such as gender, caste, and religion. Joint workshops and policy consultations aim to align minority rights with broader human rights framework. For example, cases of communal violence often overlap with women's rights, violations, and child protection issues. However, coordination is limited due to overlapping jurisdiction and fragmented database. The NHRC's quasi judicial authority could complement NCM's advisory power if mechanisms for collaboration were formalized. Integration of grievance redressal systems, data sharing, and intercommission coordination would create a holistic approach to equality. Parliamentary committees have suggested forming an intercommission coordination council for inclusive rights monitoring. Effective cooperation among these bodies would strengthen India's institutional capacity for justice delivery, ensuring that ensuring that minority concerns are addressed as part of the national human rights agenda. A crucial mandate for of the NCM is to collect and analyze data on minority welfare indicators. It undertakes socioeconomic surveys, publishes status reports, and advises the government on targeted policy design. The Commission's research division monitors access to education, health, housing, and employment opportunities among minorities. However, most data rely on external agencies such as the National Sample Survey Office (NSSO) or Niti Aayog. Limited internal capacity constraints independent analysis. However, these data are also authentic, and if the post holders are willing, they can really make use of all these datas and available resources. So there appears to be a lack of willpower also on the part of the NCM. Well, developing a robust ministry data observatory within NCM could enhance evidence based policy making, no doubt. Collaboration with universities and think tanks would improve quality research inputs, and that NCM can do at its own. Annual thematic reports like the Minority Education Status Study should become standardized exercises. Research transparency and open data platforms can enhance public awareness and accountability. Reliable data not only measure progress but also empower communities to demand inclusion. By evolving into a knowledge driven policy body, the NCM can strengthen its credibility and influence in shaping equitable national development. To make minority rights accessible, the NCM conducts outreach program through seminars, awareness campaigns, and digital media. It organizes events like Minority Rights Day and Communal Harmony Week, promoting unity and constitutional values. The Commission's official website provides complaint portals and legal resources through public awareness, though public awareness remains limited. NCM has to realize that unless they do work at the grassroots level and unless they reach out to the lowest ladder of the community, they cannot really work for the welfare of the most downtrodden sections of the community. Collaboration with the educational institutions, NGOs, and community leaders have definitely expanded its reach. Yet, absence of regional offices hampers consistent outreach. Using social media platforms and vernacular communication can increase visibility among rural and urban minorities. Public education on rights under Article 25 to 30 helps counter misinformation. Awareness campaigns linking equality with social development can foster inclusive citizenship. NCM's outreach should increase and should evolve from occasional events to continuous civic education. Empowering citizens through knowledge will definitely transform passive beneficiaries into active stakeholders in democracy. Obviously, availability of the rights through the basic law of the land, that is the constitution, is one thing, and working on the ground to really exercise and enjoy your own rights depends upon the individuals also, and how enlightened and how aware they are and how much effort they themselves are making. Rest of the structures are only complementary or supportive to them. The NCM submits annual and special reports to the Government of India, which are tabled in Parliament. These reports review progress on constitutional safeguards and government schemes. Parliamentary standing committees on social justice and empowerment examine these reports, offering recommendations. However, delays in tabling and lack of follow up dilute their impact. Effective parliamentary scrutiny enhances transparency and strengthens institutional authority. Budgetary discussions should focus on measurable outcomes, not just expenditure. The Commission's accountability to Parliament reflects India's commitment to democratic oversight. Introducing annual performance audits and questionnaire reviews could increase government responsiveness. Making NCM's reports publicly accessible encourages civic participation and academic engagements. True accountability arises when Parliament, the public, and the media collectively monitor implementation. Strengthened oversight mechanisms will ensure the uh, NCM's work translate from recommendations to action, making minority welfare an integral accountable component of national governance. Several countries have established similar institutions for minority protection. The UK Equality and Human Rights Commission ensures compliance with anti discrimination laws. The Canadian Human Rights Tribunal addresses race and religion based grievances with quasi judicial powers. In South Africa, the Commission for the Promotion and Protection of Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Communities fosters interfaith dialogue and rights enforcement. These global examples demonstrate the importance of autonomy, data transparency, and enforcement authority. Compared to them, India's NCM operates with weaker powers and smaller budgets. Learning from these models, the NCM could be granted quasi judicial powers, regional office, and independent investigative teams. International collaboration through the UN Office of the Higher Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, can improve technical expertise, adopting best practices from global institutions. Would help India modernize its approach, making minority protection not just symbolic but truly effective and internationally respected. But then, we don't have to adopt the best practices from global institutions only. The people also have to learn from the attitude, behavior, and enlightenment of the people in other countries. How enlightened they are, how democratic and secular they are in their mindsets. So, it is not only about the institutions that we have to learn, it is also about the attitude of the people, which is very, very important. So, the rights are given, but nobody will serve these rights in silver plates. One has to make real efforts and struggles and have to make their mindsets democratic and secular to live in a multicultural society. Reform of the NCM is critical. Of course, we need certain reforms. Experts in parliamentary committees have proposed amending the 1992 Act to give the Commission quasi judicial power, ensuring enforceability for its recommendations. Expanding membership to include human rights experts, economists, and social scientists can diversify perspectives. Establishing regional branches in every zone will improve accessibility. Digital grievance, redressal platforms, and time bound complaint resolution can definitely increase accessibility. Financial independence, though through a dedicated budget rather than ministry dependence, would definitely safeguard autonomy. Rather, they can have NCM can have its own ways of becoming of earning the finances by integrating or by connecting the affluent or the elite sections of the community to donate and give grants for the development of the community. Strengthened NCM can also serve as India's national focal point for UN minority rights reporting. A reform must prioritize transparency, professionalism, and community trust, transforming the Commission into a dynamic guardian of secularism and equality in India's evolving democracy. To conclude, the National Commission for Minorities stands as a cornerstone of India's institutional commitment to secularism, equality, and justice. Despite limitations in power and resources, it symbolizes hope for inclusive governance. To fulfill its mandate, the NCM must evolve from an advisory body to an active catalyst of reforms. Strengthening its autonomy, ensuring parliamentary accountability, and fostering cooperation with the states are crucial. A data driven, transparent, and participatory approach will enhance its impact. The future of minority protection depends not only on laws but on the credibility of institutions that uphold them. The NCM embodies the spirit of the Constitution: justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. As India's diversity deepens, the Commission's role becomes more vital than ever. A strong, independent, and responsive NCM can ensure that every citizen, regardless of faith, experience, regardless of faith. Sorry. A strong, independent, and responsive NCM can ensure that every citizen, regardless of faith, experiences equal dignity and opportunity in the world's largest democracy. Thank you.